Hello everybody and welcome to your December 2017 reading. Wish you the best of health and happiness, and for those of you that celebrate any holidays during this month, an early happy holiday to you. This is going to be a very information-packed video, and to help you navigate that, I've placed time codes in the description area right beneath the video. So feel free to expand that and you can see what parts might be most relevant to you. Feel free to skip around or listen to the whole thing. I hope you do that if you have time. Let me just quickly run through the organization of this video. I start off with channeled information, followed by a catalyst card, and then I take a look at a Celtic Cross for the month. After that, I will look at health, wealth, love, and destiny. Everything there can be used for all signs, as well as what I do after that, which is taking a look at the 4 quarters of the following year. So I'll pull one card for each of the quarters. If you stick around to the very end, then I have sign-specific information for each of the signs. All right, now let's get into the reading. First and foremost, we are having a retrograde, and it's starting off in the first week, and it will end just a little bit before Christmas. And this is not something to be feared, but it is something to be aware of. I really like retrogrades. I might be one of the few, maybe not for buying technology and things like that, but I actually love the fact that we're getting one at the end of the year prior to New Year's. Why? Because we get to kind of finish up anything that we haven't already completed and start 2018 on a very sort of clean slate. So it's a really good time for anything that you haven't had a chance to put your energy into, whether it's a project at work, home improvements, working on your own personal health, also just trying to finish a goal that you maybe have had a setback or something like that. This is a chance. It's basically a month of second chances. And if we sort of looked at retrograde as this time when you can sometimes fix or pick up things, then it wouldn't be such a feared event. It's a time when you do want to be very clear, and I did get some channeled information for some of the signs that clarity was going to be really important with manifestation, and I think that's a general note that I can share with everybody. Just be very clear in communications and intentions, and approach everything as a chance to sort of fix, wrap up, or improve something. I think if you go about it that way, this month can be exciting rather than something that you're dreading. All right, let's begin with the channeled information for the entire month for all signs. And what's really important this month for everybody is to be in a state where you feel like you're in control, or for some of you, this might be more about reining in either your emotions, your fears, or how much you want to sort of spend your energy. Sometimes we put everything out at the beginning and we forget that it's like a long distance run, not a sprint. And for those of you that sort of tend to, again, put too much too fast, I would say, remember that this month is going to require a lot from all signs energetically. So you want to pace yourself, you want to be in control as much as possible, and this is also speaking to, if you would think of the 9 of Cups card, this is about not going to extremes with how much you eat, how much you drink, how much you say. All right, so that's the overall information this month, is try to keep things in control, try to stay sort of in a even kiltered place with your mind and with your energy this month, and I think you'll be setting yourself up for success. All right, your catalyst message for this month is if you choose to embrace the opportunities, this is a chance where you can start to create new things. And particularly after you get through the retrograde, the last week of the month. So you can start to focus then on not so much wrapping up things, but now, what do I want to do? And it's not just about your resolutions for the new year. You're going to get a burst of energy right around the holidays, and for some of you, you may not be working, and that means that you can do something really cool with that time and that energy that you might otherwise have to spend on like work product. So do what you can to make sure that you harness that creative flow that's going to make itself available for most of us at the end of the month. All right. Let's go ahead and look at the Celtic Cross for all signs this month, looking at the energy that everybody can access. Remember, your sign-specific information will come up right after this. All right, we'll go one more shuffle, and then we'll see what's coming through for this month. Let me go ahead and move the camera back so you can see everything. So the central message this month is to focus on your priorities, what you value the most. For some of you, this may literally be money, work, making sure that you're really making a name for yourself, that you're creating something that's going to allow for stability in your life. For others of you, this has more to do with family and friends and the intersection of the two. So you may have to have some difficult conversations, and I mention this because your outcome card is the Six of Pentacles in reverse. And so what this is saying is you're going to have to decide limits, and this could be a discussion with your boss, with your partner, or just with yourself, thinking like, how much energy do I want to give to my job? Am I getting enough sleep? Am I having enough time to enjoy things? Also, am I living within my means? Because when I see the Six of Pentacles in reverse, it usually has to do with having the ability to either say no, or again, have more self-control and understand that maybe I'm making it difficult for myself, or that, that there's an opportunity to sort of like choose a different path, make smarter decisions with money, etc. So the good news though, with the Ten of Pentacles here right at the center, I feel like the first week of the month is going to be good for work and productivity. In fact, as we look at some of the contributing factors here, I think a lot of you are either going to be cashing in on some of the great work that you've done or capitalizing on that work, or you might be starting something really new and engaging on the first week of the month. What's important for you though is to focus on kind of tempering your emotions, because what I see here crossing all of these is that some of you may either be maybe disappointed with the fact that you aren't, if it has to do with work, that maybe you didn't get the title or the increase or whatever it is that you were trying to accomplish, but there's an opportunity right in front of you, and that's usually what the Four of Cups is saying. So look beyond what might feel like an initial disappointment and think, can I make something of this? Is this the universe telling me that perhaps it's time to look for a new way to make money or a new company to make money at, etc.? Some of you, work is not going to be a focus, and for those of you that are feeling more sort of emotionally, I guess, charged this month, what I see for you is this might be a time to step away from a painful situation in your life. And for many of you, this could be difficult, because what I'm seeing here is there may be a connection to safety, and perhaps you aren't the breadwinner and someone's taking care of you, or something like that. What you want to do is take care of yourself this month. Set up ways that you can be protected, that your own best interests are being taken into consideration, and most importantly, don't be afraid to speak up for yourself. If there's something that is important to you and you're being, this is particularly true in relationships and in legal matters. If there's something that's going on that you don't feel right about, this is a month when you need to step forward, to ask for help, or to seek out an advocate, especially if you're feeling like nobody understands you or nobody's listening. It's difficult sometimes to come out of the shell, especially if you feel either beholden to a situation, again, because someone's got power or money, and that's not allowing you to maybe ask or speak up for what you need. It's a very important month to do that. It'll set you into a much better place in 2018. Some of you might just be ready to step out and do something independent. So maybe you've been in a relationship for a long time and you're ready to be single. Maybe you want to start your own business. For some of you, it's just needing to express your ideas, needing to be more outspoken or entrepreneurial, even if you are kind of sticking with a traditional relationship or day job or whatever it is. Somehow there's a sort of rebellious streak that is coming through right around the middle of the month. And because we're in the middle of retrograde at that time, you want to take it slowly. What I'm looking at environmentally, what's pulling in on your energy and also influencing you heavily is for those of you that have children or family, a lot of energy is going to be required to kind of keep that in balance this month, more so than usual. If you're not in a family situation in your life, what this has to do is your own ego, and understanding that either you have to temper your maybe focus on yourself this month, or there might be someone around you that is draining you because they're focusing on themselves a lot. So in either situation, it's kind of about taking a deep breath, doing what you can, and then realizing that there's a bigger picture that, you know, you can easily get wrapped up in someone else's drama or your own drama, or you can kind of think, today's one day, this was one situation, and tomorrow's a chance to hit reset. If you carry stuff over like baggage from day to day, it starts to get heavier and heavier. If you think of each day as an opportunity, each retrograde as a chance to clear, then all of a sudden you start to feel invigorated. And when I'm not doing this, I write. And so for me, if I'm editing or rewriting, sure, it can feel like it's something that is taxing. Sometimes it can feel like this beautiful creation as well, because you get a chance to deconstruct and reconstruct. If you ever watch one of those home improvement shows where they have to sometimes go in and knock down a wall, that might be something that you need to do this month if you want to kind of work with metaphors here, so that you can see what the potential is, because sometimes we're boxed in by things that were there before we came, and then we don't understand what's available to us. What would happen if I took this away and added something different? How do I feel now that I have more space? So don't let your thoughts crowd you in. Don't let other people's emotions sort of like pull you in. Try to free yourself this month and think of yourself as one of those home improvement gurus that goes in to clear, to clean, and to evaluate. And you can start the construction in January. December is going to be a lot better for pulling away the pieces or fixing something that might not quite have been the way you wanted it. It could be a relationship, a second chance to heal a wound, to say sorry, or to just decide you want to move on, etc. But for the creation, you know, I really feel like it's the end of the month, and specifically January, that's going to be much more fertile for that. One thing I want to mention here when we're looking at your hopes and fears, it's really important to be transparent with your desires, with your fears, with also not being afraid to ask your partner if something's bothering them, or if they need to talk to you, or if they seem like they're upset. Just try to be supportive, because you don't want to let things kind of boil over this month. It's better to, if you think of a pressure cooker, sometimes you have to release the pressure in there, or it kind of, you can overcook something, or it can explode. This is the same thing. You almost want to hit a valve to allow a decompression to happen, so that you feel better, so the other person feels better, and so that we saw the crowning card as the Three of Swords. For those of you that are going to try to stick out a difficult situation, it might be a relationship, it could be a job. This is going to require a lot of watching what you say, and also trying to empathize with the other person, and trying to take things in little steps rather than one big saying everything at once. So easy does it. I keep coming back to control, because I think that's a pivotal message for everybody this month. And then realize that once you've done this work on yourself, once you've made it through retrograde, 2018 is going to open up a lot of opportunities for creative energy. So do give yourself a chance for that and see what happens. Let's go ahead and expand this to look at health, wealth, love, and destiny, and then we'll go to all of the sign-specific information. Let's start off with your health message for this month. So the Tower card for health, what does this mean for you? The first thing that I get is to be proactive and to listen to your body. If there is something that has been sort of nagging you, an ache, a pain, a discomfort, or something that's just not quite right, and you'll know what that means, I don't want you to put it off. This is a month where you absolutely want to go and get that checked out and talk to someone and just say, this may mean nothing, this could just be me being very proactive, but what is going on here? So seek out assistance. And the other thing is, it's a time to make smart changes in your health and fitness routine. So just remember to do so in a way that is gentle, because with the Tower, there's a capacity to throw things out, etc. So you want to be careful. You want to do any sort of changes under the guidance of a professional. And for some of you, you may be also electing to change something. Whenever you get a surgery, a lot of times the Tower card will come up. Usually it's reversed though. So I think this is about paying attention to existing things and avoiding the Tower outcome. All right, let's take a look now at wealth and see what opportunities are coming through for career and advancement, also for some of you school, etc. For those of you that are retired, it's about security, but let's just look at your overall career or money card. It's about being not just being proactive, but also about speaking up. So it's another thing that I've been saying a few times this month, but pages are a vehicle for delivery. So if the page card is coming through for you, I want you to pay attention to any sort of written contracts, small, fine print, etc. Don't be afraid to get on the phone and talk to someone if you have a question about, I know a lot of us in North America, we're doing like open enrollment for healthcare, or it might be your 401k for retirement. It could also be about an investment that you need to liquidate, whatever it is. This is a time when you're probably going to be better off talking to a human rather than just looking at the website or text. So get on the phone, talk to someone, ask the questions you need, or talk to a friend and make sure that your assumptions are correct. Let's go ahead now and take a look at, we looked at health, wealth, let's look at love. Relationships across your life, we'll just see what the general message for relationships this month is. And we have the Five of Cups. Five of Cups really speaks to being able to overcome past setbacks. And really that fits perfectly within a retrograde month. You can either dwell on a cyclical thing that's been happening time and again, or you can use this month as a catalyst or change agent to break free of a cycle, to let go of either a person or a habit or a place in your mind or your heart where you sort of sit and you kind of create new things. The other thing is to focus on what is possible. So if you are in a relationship, it's been difficult. For many of you with the crowning card, Three of Swords, it may be. This is a chance for you to think like, should I stick with this? Is it giving me enough sort of fulfillment to make up for the tension and the frustration, or am I seeing progress? So focus on what's working or not working, and you'll be able to sort of suss out if the negatives outweigh the positives. A lot of times with the Five of Cups, that is the case, but sometimes what's happening, as you see with this card, is that you may not be looking at what you're gaining from this. So I want you to focus first on that, then do an internal check and think, how do I really feel though? At the end of the day, that's all that's important. And I feel like for some of you, it's kind of, and if you're, whatever you're feeling this about, it could be a work relationship or a personal relationship, you've got to maybe shift out of that a little bit, or decide I'm going to walk away from that because I should feel more engaged, or I should feel more reciprocity. And this card is definitely a card of imbalance. Fives are uneven, and you need to bring balance back for it to feel satisfactory. Okay? Now let's take a look at your destiny card, and this is a trajectory. It's kind of like peeking through and looking at January a little bit. If you like where you're headed, stick with that path. If you don't, it's a great time to do a course correction. So your destiny card this month is paying attention to things that you don't want to talk about. And I know that's probably not something that you wanted to get for your destiny card, but the Moon card is saying make sure that if there's anything that is troubling or is piquing your curiosity, that you're not afraid to go there. The positive aspects of this card, I love this for art, for writing, for dance, because this is a creative card. It's a divine feminine card as well. So when it comes to your creative art, I think this is a great month for expression. Even the act of decorating. You'll see I've got a few things up as well. It's great because it changes your frequency. It brings you into a different space. It also changes your environment a little bit. So at the very least, you could get into, and if you don't celebrate any holidays, you could just take a look at your house and move things around a little bit. It's a good time to sort of realize that your environment has a profound effect on your energy, your heart, your state of being. So if you're feeling stuck in your life, move things around a little bit in your house and see if it doesn't shift your energy and your perspective as well. All right, before we get into the sign-specific information, let's take a look at next year. I'm going to pull 4 cards, one for each quarter of the year. We'll start off with January, February, and March. And the card for those 3 months is the Ten of Swords reversed. This is about, for many of you, an end of struggle, or a time where we looked at your health card, and your health card was the Tower. So for some of you, this is about overcoming issues that might be holding you back. Maybe it's chronic pain, maybe it's fatigue, maybe there are emotional situations going on in your life that you've either felt like you were powerless or that you couldn't overcome. This shows a reversal in that state. So Empowerment is another way to look at the Ten of Swords reverse, but empowerment after a period of struggle. And so the question for you is, how quickly can you make this happen? How much are you attached to some of the emotions that you're feeling? There's no right or wrong way to move through it, but the sort of the light at the end of the tunnel here is that you will walk through whatever difficulties you feel at the beginning of the year with a sense of levity, of strength, and of empowerment. But to get there, you might have to go through a difficult situation. For some of you, it could also mean making a decision where there's not sort of like a clear answer that, this is the right way, this is the wrong way. And so for me, the Ten of Swords reverse can also indicate what feels like an impossible choice. And in this situation, you really want to do soul searching, you research, and then at a certain point, you just have to make that decision. It doesn't matter how clairvoyant you are or how much information you have. Sometimes decisions, you're the one that has to make it. So know that you're going to make the best choice for you, and at the end of the day, that's okay. So challenging at the very beginning, invigorating after you get through the challenge, and a sense of relief once you sort of understand, wow, I understand why all of this was set up. So there you go. I may be the only reader out there that gets excited about a reversal of a Ten of Swords, but I see a lot of opportunity here, and that's what's coming through. But remember, you got to kind of go through the tough stuff first, and then there's a nice payoff afterwards. All right, let's take a look at April, May, and June, the next quarter of the year. And this is the nice stuff that I was talking about. Now, there's still a little hesitation that's coming through here. And I think for many of you, when we look at the star card, I'll break down the symbology for a second. There's no clothing on the person here because there's no need to hide. You are your true self, and you are unafraid to kind of show the world exactly, it's kind of like your true colors, okay? And this is also a card of visibility. So the reversal on this is feeling either shy or not ready, or feeling a little intimidated by maybe being more out in the spotlight. But make no mistake, when the star card comes up, you are either going to be put on the spot or expected to perform out in public a little bit more or be more vocal. So the challenges we're looking at April, May, and June is how can you step into this role of being received by others and not shy away from it, not miss some sort of an opportunity for growth, or again, to sort of like, the reason we come into this life, and every life that we are reincarnated, is we have certain things that we want to accomplish. The star card means that looking at 2018, there's a big shift in your soul that is kind of ticking off or checking off one of those items that you want to do. Don't miss your connecting flight in that second quarter in April, May, and June. Meet the challenge, embrace it, get over the discomfort, and you've already worked through some challenging stuff. Enjoy whatever great stuff is coming your way in that second quarter. You've earned it, okay? As we look at July, August, and September, let's see what's coming through here. This is a great time for spiritual growth. You notice the reversals on this. Next year, there's this big shift of energy that's coming through, and some of you may be feeling like, I'm not ready for it. Is it real? What's going on? This is the quintessential psychic card. It's also a really great card for creativity. This is more about creative birthing, I would say, of something. So don't be afraid to really work on your personal development in the third quarter of next year. Could be about going out to a spiritual retreat. Could also just be about looking within and sort of doing some soul searching and deciding what you want to do with your life. Sometimes we save these things for like New Year's or a pivotal birthday. You don't have to. Any point in your life, any time you can do it, but I'm seeing the third quarter is a great time for personal development, taking a class, doing self-improvement, and really exploring your spiritual side as well. Let's look at the last quarter of next year, looking at October, November, and December, and we have the Two of Pentacles. So with the Two of Pentacles, this is a card where you're really going to have to make some choices. When it comes to your money situation, it's not a card of a lot of abundance. So you may be looking at any sort of purchasing decisions that you're making earlier in the year. Think about the longevity of them, if they're really making sense. And also, I want you to work on your contingency funds. So On the off chance that there's an unexpected health cost or that someone is out of work, etc., you want to have the rainy day fund because this may be the time of the year when you need to tap into it. So I'm seeing a little bit of economic shifting or struggle going on towards the end of the year, but since we're having this reading now, you can absolutely plan ahead for that. And the other thing for those of you that are feeling really solid with your finances, this can be a card of travel, and it can also be a card where you're being pulled in a lot of directions. You notice it's sort of elastic, and this person's trying to balance that. So it can merely be that your calendar is booked beyond something that you can actually manage. So if you're in a position of authority and you can push back, ask your assistant to reschedule some things for another month. Or if you're a mom or a dad and you feel like you're overcommitted to too many activities, you know you're going to have to talk to your kids or to your boss or whatever, and some things are going to have to give. If you do that, balance is possible. If you don't, things snap a little bit. It's either your own sort of energy and feeling like I can't do it and you get sick, or it's you get into an argument and you snap. So avoid that kind of tension, getting too taut. Know when it's important and when it's appropriate to sort of push back. Okay, so that's your sneak peek into 2018. Overall, it's really great. Especially, I really like the middle part of the year with the Star card and the High Priestess. A lot of great energy, and for those of you that are trying to make yourself seen, whether it's a new business endeavor, if you're an actor, if you're a writer, if you're doing anything where you want people to know your name or to realize you're there, these cards are very supportive of that. So now let's get to the fun stuff. I'm going to pull channeled information for each of the signs. I'm not going to do cards in addition to that because there's been so many bonus things and we've been talking about a lot, and I want to keep this video at a decent length. So we'll be doing channeled only information for each of the zodiac signs. So let's get straight to that. All right, let's begin with Aries. Aries, your message this month is actually one that is much more introspective, and it's going to affect your relationships all across the board. It has to do with love, but it's not about falling in love or finding love. It's about feeling love for who you are, what you're doing, and where you're headed in your life. So essentially the message is love yourself, but it's not an act of selfishness. It's actually an act of appreciating who you are, what you're doing, and not trying to either work out that if you're not feeling happy with who you are, working that out in your relationships. Once you've sort of healed within and you feel comfortable in your skin, then other people are comfortable around you, and you start to attract people who are also feeling good about their lives, about their path. And when you start to have new friendships, new love relationships, and even new family bonds, you're creating them from a clean slate without all of the baggage. So find what it is that you want to work on yourself and do that this month. The retrograde is setting you up for success in that area, and so absolutely do it, and realize that once you sort of let go of all of this stuff, you're bringing, like I said, a clean slate, this bright light into new relationships, and that is one of the most magnetic things for positive shifts in your life, positive, energetic relationships and opportunities. So work on self-love and acceptance, and it's going to help you in every facet of your life. For Taurus, the message this month is around your internal power of creation. And what I mean by that is you can create your own reality, your own luck. You can also kind of harness your reactions to situations that are going on in your life and either see them as building blocks for a better tomorrow or as roadblocks holding you back from doing what you want to do. And a simple way of sort of thinking about this is that life is happening for your benefit rather than to you, sort of as an affront to your ability to go after what you want. So if you create a sense of you being empowered, you learning, and you being able to shift and change trajectory on a day-to-day basis, which by the way is very true, then you start to set yourself up for opportunities of leadership. People start to see you as someone who has a good sense of self. And again, this very subtle confidence, this confidence that things are working out, they're always happening for your benefit, suddenly life is better, and you feel like every day, every single moment is a possibility and a gift to you. So I'm trying to shift your perspective to see things as a gift, see things happening for your benefit and not happening to you. So a little bit of an emotional and a mental shift that's going to help you get through the month and help also shift the energy so that more positivity comes your way. That's really what I'm trying to find for almost every sign this month. As we look at Gemini, what's really important for you this month is to get out of your headspace a little bit and do something that breaks up the energy. In essence, set up time for play, for fun, and release ultimately is what this is. When you look at children, they don't hold on to things, usually I should say, as long. They will have a tantrum sometimes. If we look at like 2 and 3-year-olds in particular, when they're happy, they're happy. When they're sad, but they don't stay too long in these states. They kind of let the emotions flow through them. A lot of times they'll get this out just by the sheer act of playing or doing something fun. They're not afraid to be irreverent or to look silly. I want you to do something in your life where you feel safe and you can express yourself. So I mentioned dance a lot. It's not something I do, but I look at people dancing, they seem to be having fun, and it seems to be a great way of expression. So if that works for you, great. I'm a writer. I get a lot of fulfillment through writing. Other people may do it from hands-on work, so maybe it's about home improvement, building something, gardening. I want you to do something that just brings you fun, and there doesn't have to be a tangible outlet. There doesn't have to be a tangible outcome. What it is going to be is an outlet for your stress. And what you're going to be left with is this feeling of, I'm back to normal, I'm back to myself. And also, gosh, that felt good to just do something just because. So you'll be more productive for those of you that are students or really working hard in a difficult corporate job. I want you to make time to see a movie, to have fun, to hang out with a friend, etc. All right, let's look at Cancer. Cancer, this month it's going, and I think you're already really adept at this, it's going to be very important for you to pay attention to nonverbal cues. I want you to basically, when I first wrote this down, I actually saw like reading between the lines, someone sort of seeing the hidden messages. So focus on nonverbal cues, but also focus on your own intuition and understanding that things are not always what they appear on surface. So don't be afraid if there's a good friend in your life that seems to not be doing okay, to ask a few times, how are you doing? Is there anything I can do? You don't want to be annoying, but I want you in different points of your life to go under the surface. This can also be in your finances, making sure that you ask the important questions because there may be hidden things. So nonverbal cues, and I would also say reading between the lines or seeing beyond what's obvious. It's going to be the subtle stuff this month that's really important for you to tune into. As we look at Leo this month, the most important thing you can do is to prioritize your energy, what you want to accomplish, also who you want to spend time with. It's all about knowing that the clearer you are in your vision for what's possible and also what is necessary, the easier it's going to be for things to start to fall in place. If you don't know kind of like what you're trying to do at any given moment, then the universe reacts chaotically as well. So wake up in the morning each day this month, write one thing down that's really important for you to try to accomplish, allow that to be your keystone for the day, and then put other things under that umbrella, okay? Virgo. This one's a little harder, but I wrote down the word forgive or forgiveness, and for some of you it's going to be an internal act of forgiveness. Maybe forgiving yourself for not treating someone well or not getting something done, or maybe you're just really an ambitious person and you're not happy with where you're at and you're forgiving yourself for not doing as well as you'd like. This could also be about opening your heart to forgiving someone in your life who it's been easier up until this point to simply hold on to the anger or to the emotion from the past and not let it go. Know that this act of forgiveness is actually, especially when it's for someone else, it's going to be a self-healing act. So work on that this month. You may not get to that end result of forgiveness, but you might be able to understand why you're holding on. And that in and of itself is going to be really important and help you in the new year to reverse this pattern. For Libra, this is a very, very powerful month for you. But what's important for you, we were talking about priority a couple of signs ago. For you, it's about specificity, particularly in regards to what you're trying to manifest. So I want you, if you've never tried to work with a vision board, to experiment with that. And if you're trying to ask for certain things to happen in your life, really see, feel, sense the how it looks. And I want you to imagine all parts of it, being very, very specific. Don't just say, send me a job, send me a woman, send me a man, send me a situation. No, I want you to be really specific on attributes and how this is going to help you. And I don't want you to demand, but when you're trying to think instead about like goal setting, and then release it as, I am ready to receive this. It's much better than a demand to the universe, because that doesn't work very well. But what you're setting up is what you're ready to experience, and then release it. So specificity is going to be very, very helpful. Play around with that with your manifestation. As we look at Scorpio this month, I almost wrote lighten up. I have a feeling this isn't just about emotions, or it could have to do for some of you with like tension that you're holding in your neck and your back. So if you're feeling a sense of kind of like being weighed down, or just feeling some pain or chronic pain here, definitely get that looked at. Maybe get a massage or some acupuncture or something. For the rest of you, take a look at your overall workload, because that emotional stress that you're feeling is probably because you've overextended yourself. Don't be afraid to say no. Don't be afraid to push back, and understand that sometimes that's the only way to affect change particularly in a workplace. I know not every office is that understanding, and many of you may be fearing for your job in some places, but when and if you are in a position of power, definitely push back, and know that in many offices you have a chance to show that, hey, we need more people, or you're expecting too much of me, this person isn't doing their part. You have to speak up. Mostly because if you don't, we looked into the first quarter of next year, and we saw that chronic pain card. It could come through in another manifestation in your body. So I want you to release the stress now, so that you don't have to deal with it in January, February, and March of next year. All right, let's look at Sagittarius. Really powerful month for you to make good connections, business connections, romantic connections, and then people that may just help you in ways that you won't even understand for a year or two. But I want you to say yes and RSVP yes to parties, to opportunities for both social networking and business networking. And honestly, the two have a lot of overlap. So not a month to be a hermit, Sagittarius. Get out there, shine, and don't be afraid to introduce yourself and say hello to a new face. Capricorn, let's see what your channeled information is this month. When I was tuning into your sign earlier, there were two pieces that came through. First of all, I think you're already very good at, particularly in business, being able to say what you need to say. But what I want you to do across the board is to find that internal assertiveness and speak up when it has to do with your money, relationships, business. Like, this is a month to really make sure that people understand that you have a perspective. Of course, you want to listen and you want to empathize with what they're going through, but you also need to make sure that you're being listened to. And this is a month to also follow up. If there's something that you committed to doing, to completing, or just to picking up the phone, make sure you follow through on that. That's something that, it's a promise, and it basically, it's going to be how people perceive you. Are you someone who is true to your word? If someone else is not following up or holding true to their end of the bargain, this is also a time to sort of remind them of an earlier conversation and make sure that all these loose ends get tied before the end of the year. Aquarius. At first I wrote freedom, but what I realized for you is that you're going to have to find places in your life where you feel free. And sometimes we have these blocks where we can't always go exactly where we want to go, but we forget that there's a lot of sort of lateral freedom on either side. So sometimes if you're kind of boxed in by budget, by time, by expectations, there may be some other things that you can do to start to spread your wings. So if you want to visualize this month, that's actually a great exercise for mental visualization. Think about spreading your wings, and maybe even instead of trying to go through a situation, to go above it. And I mean that symbolically, and it could also mean about, for some of you, taking a trip, but that's what I sort of see as don't try to push through, try to go higher in the way that you act and think, not about superiority, but about seeing it from a bird's eye point of view, and then maybe trying to find a way to go somewhere else if you're not feeling like you can continue to move forward. So find how you can express and see freedom in your life, and for some of you that's going to require getting out of a situation and maybe hanging out with a different group of people that can change your perspective. Finally, Pisces. There's actually some tangible information that came through, and then a little bit of symbolic stuff as well. The first thing is, I talked a little bit about rearranging things in your house. Your sign, absolutely this is good. I want, for those of you that maybe have been really busy with work or just haven't spent time kind of going through the closets or looking at how your house is arranged, spend some time this weekend, this month, and start to move things around that don't feel good anymore. Get rid of clothing that doesn't feel good. I want you to rearrange, to purge, and then also, for some of you, this is a month where if you feel comfortable in your space, this is more about picking up the pieces of your life. Maybe you've just been going a mile a minute, 2 or 3 kids, or a couple of jobs, or just a lot of expectations, and now it's sort of like, wait, I got lost along the way, or I didn't finish what I wanted to do. This is a month to pick up all the pieces and start to, again, focus on yourself and how you're feeling. And it's really, really important that you end this month on a good note so that 2018, you can start to experience the blessings rather than feeling like you're still caught up, you're still trying to catch up. So allow this month to be your catch-up month, and allow for January to be a month to really feel like opportunities are starting to come to you. I just want to say thank you to everybody who's supported me over the past year and the past couple of years. This has been a wonderful experience, and I look forward to seeing what 2018 brings to all of us as well. That brings our monthly reading to a close, and as I said, thank you very much for realizing that I'm taking a break this month, and so December and January will be slightly abbreviated like this, but it's also a nice compact format, so I hope you like it. A reminder that I'll be having a special sale for gift certificates. So I'll put a link to my website. There'll be a special post on my blog for information on how to take advantage of that. And if you'd like to donate or support the channel, there's also links in the description area below to do so, and I'd love for you to do that, or you can book an appointment as well. Otherwise, to stay in touch on social media, you can join me on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. Links will be below. I have a newsletter as well, and all of those are really excellent ways to know when I post new videos. And if you haven't already subscribed to the channel, feel free to do that as well. Finally, I would just like to say a very happy holiday to everybody. Happy New Year in advance, and take care of yourselves. I'll see you really soon, and I'm grateful for all of you each and every day. Take care. Bye-bye.